Perfect. Okay, so and thanks for the introduction, and great to see so many of you on the call today. I'm sure there's a lot of you in cleanup mode still after the storm last week. So thanks so much for joining. And give a brief intro for myself. I'm working with Golf Ireland, and I'm also working with Damon in the ATPI. In particular here with the ATPI to help with the rollout of the sustainability portal. So I suppose I'll be your go-to person, and I'll be giving you an email address at the end of the presentation. And if I can help you in any way at all, no question is a silly one. Just reach out, and I'm here to help and get people using the portal, which I hope by the end of the presentation you'll find is a no-brainer for all sorts of reasons. Perfect. So I suppose just to say that some of you will have seen this portal before. It has been around in another format previously, and it would have been sent out to people just to, I suppose, play around with and get feedback on. So there was quite a lot of feedback on the initial portal, and you've spoken, we've listened, and we've integrated now and made changes to the portal based on your feedback to make it as simple as possible for you to use. So I suppose now we're kind of formally relaunching the portal for you to use. So I suppose the first thing is to, again, as I said, some of you will be familiar with the portal, but some of you won't. So I suppose what's it all about? Well, the portal really, it's a free and it's a user-friendly, secure online tool that allows you to log your PPPs, which you'll all be familiar with, your plant protection products. And as Anne said, it was developed by the ATPI in Golf Ireland, and there was support from the DP World Tour. And very importantly, it was done in consultation with the Department of Agriculture, because it will be the Department of Agriculture, and I'm sure some of you have already experienced, that will be auditing how we're logging the PPPs, etc., which we have to do by law now. So I've briefly explained what it is. As I said, it's the portal. And I suppose the next thing to say is, well, why? Why is it important? Why is it important for us to use this? Well, a couple of reasons for this. It's important to use it because we need to comply with the EU's Sustainable Use Directive. There's Irish legislation we also need to comply with in terms of logging for the PPPs. This tool, as we go through it, you'll realize will be really, really useful the day you have a Department of Ag inspection. And I know they've added to their team recently, and I think there was recently in the last week or so, there's an ad out looking for more auditors. So we're going to be seeing more and more of this. So if you were using this tool and this portal and you had all your information that you're asked of in the portal up to date, you'd be smiling the day one of these auditors walk into your premises, because you'd have it all there at the click of a button. I suppose the other thing is that Irish golf clubs need to be able to demonstrate compliance. It's not enough to be able to say, oh, well, yeah, I'm doing it. We need to be able to demonstrate that with data. And data will be required to inform further legislation and regulation discussions, because there will be more discussions around this, whether it's at an Irish level or at an EU level. And I suppose on that, to kind of bring us back to a discussion with the EU in 2022 around, regulation and directive around PPPs. At that time, it was a very tricky discussion because there was very little data to say what we were actually doing. We had a lot of anecdotal information to say people were doing the right thing and people were logging, and I'm sure most of you are. But we had actually no data to back up that argument. And what it could have meant at the time, in reality, in 2022, is that there could have been an outright ban on pesticide use across amenity areas, and golf clubs find themselves in that space of classified as amenity areas. If we were compliant with the directive, which I know most people are, I'm sure, but if we had the data to support that in one place, for example, if it was all on a portal that Golf Ireland or the ATPI could access, anonymised obviously, it would be a much stronger argument for Golf Ireland and ATPI when having these conversations with the EU. It just puts you in a much stronger negotiation position when you have access to data. So we definitely need the data to defend the industry. Irish Golf has committed to developing frameworks for compliance. So as on the back of that, those discussions, those difficult discussions in 2022, there was a commitment that, you know, that you would move forward and have frameworks and establish, you know, things like the portal to be able to log information and be able to use that. So, and I suppose I needn't say, you know, Anne is on the call and Damien hopefully has been able to join us again. But both of those organisations are prioritising this portal. So just to say that. I thought it was no harm in just popping in and look again. Some of you will be familiar with what's involved in a Department of Inspection, but just worth saying that these are the kind of things that you have to have available in the club when you have a visit from an auditor from the Department of Agriculture. Your training cert, your professional user number, your test cert for your sprayers, your calibration details, your PPP application records, your integrated management, pest management records, risk assessment records, your PPP purchase and disposal records, and the procedures around, you know, you filling your sprayers and disposing of the excess that you haven't used or whatever. So these are all the things typically that you have to have available when you have a department inspection. And you know, if we'll look into the portal now and its capability and the information that's required in it. But if you were to use the portal, all this information would be in there, and you'd be able to display it at the press of a button. We've gone the wrong way there for some reason. Yeah, so I suppose just in summary, what we're saying is that Golf Ireland needs, Golf Ireland and the ATPI need a credible sector-specific tool. That's, I suppose, it allows us to be proactive in logging and being compliant with the regulations. And at the end of all that, what it gives you is it gives you credible data. So when the time comes to go back to Europe or to talk to the powers that be when we're defending ourselves, we have data we have factual, credible data to be able to share that we are doing the right thing and that we are compliant. So again, I suppose there are, I've probably touched on most of these already, but there are consequences in being not compliant. Obviously, if we're not compliant and we're not logging a PPP use, and we're not logging it in a way that's accessible and that can give out credible data, well, our negotiation position is weakened straight away. So you'll find the balance of power in terms of negotiation sits more with the powers that be than, you know, the people that are on this call. And I'm sure I'm sure all of you on the call, because it is law. You know, you're logging your use of all these things. It's just a case of putting it in a place where it's accessible and it generates data, so we can defend ourselves when the time comes. And there's no doubt that this discussion will be back on the agenda again. We could have had an outright ban on pesticide use, which would have been a disaster, I think, for many, for probably everybody on the call. Irish Golf would be in danger of losing critical course management tools, you know, and then there's a whole question mark about the viability of and the playability of the golf greens. I suppose worth mentioning that, you know, aside from the audits that are taking place in clubs with the Department of Ag, there are independent, you know, testing. There is independent testing being done by the EPA and the councils in water testing being done, whether it's near farms or golf courses or businesses or whatever. So, you know, that's sometimes throwing up, you know, that there is chemical use. So they're picking up there without even ever coming into a golf club and auditing. You know, they can check in other ways. I suppose potentially another consequences, you know, if we weren't to do this right and you know, we did run into trouble, is that, you know, it could have a huge impact on national and international tourism, because, you know, golf is such an important part of that in Ireland in terms of attracting people to visit Ireland and spend time in Ireland as a tourist. And I suppose the last thing to say is that, you know, media, and I think the farming community is a good example of this. You know, they haven't always had their data. They haven't always been able to defend themselves, you know, so, and I think the media have had a field day with them. So I think it's a case of getting ahead of the game, being proactive, having your data, being able to defend yourself with data. I think that's a good place to be. So onto the portal then very briefly, to bring you through that. I won't be logging in directly. These are just screenshots of the portal itself, but very simple. I think from start to end, if you have your data ready, it'll take you no more than 45 minutes to put all your information on the portal. And that's the end of notebooks and paper and back of envelopes and whatever else. So I just see something coming in on a chat there, but we'll park that for a second. So basically what you do is you log on to www.atpi.ie, and this will be the first screen that you'll see. And most of you will have to register. Even if you had registered before, the portal has changed, so you'd actually have to register again. So you were basically registered. The only group that could log in is if you were a paid club member, then you would be able to just click on the login button here. But for most people who wouldn't necessarily have a budget to or want to spend money on the portal as such, there is free access for up to 2 members. And you would just basically click on the register button here, and then that would bring you on to, that's what I just mentioned there. So you free access if you don't want to become a club member, and the free access gives you up to 2 portal users. So two people within the golf club can use the portal for free without any cost. And this is when you press on the register, then this is the page that you would land in. You put in your details. It asks you all the questions, nothing, no rocket science in there, pretty straightforward. But again, as I said, if you get stuck at any part of it, don't let that be an obstacle to completion or to using the portal. You just pop me an email or give me a call or connect in with Damien, and we'll sort you out. So don't get stuck, and don't give up easy. We'll help you get through it. So then you can customize then the portal for yourself with your own picture and different things. That's all, again, it's pretty straightforward there. And then I suppose this is then where you start recording your data. So once you're set up, you'll get your login details then, and you're away basically. You log in and you get going. So this is kind of the first thing that you would start to do. You'd be putting in your PU number down here, if you can see my cursor, and then you'd be putting in your IPM statement, and then you'd be putting in the equipment details as well. But just to say, you don't have to have all this put in before you start logging what you're actually using. And this is where you'd be logging that. And there's drop-down menus for every, I suppose, approved product that there is on the market. So that you shouldn't have to be creating anything new. It should be very straightforward. Loads of drop-down menus for you just to select and find the product that you're using and put it in. The beauty of the portal is that it gives you fantastic reports once you start using it, once you start putting in data on the use of different products. So I think this you'll find very useful for yourself. I said it'll be very useful when it comes to a department audit, but I think equally useful when you're reporting maybe into the board or to the chair or people within the club. This will be a useful thing. You know, you won't have to go back to the drawing board and create a file or a PowerPoint or anything like that. It's all here for you. So really good kind of reporting capability for in the portal. Here as well in terms of, so different types of reports, whatever you choose to use, you can use them all. Just showing you different times a year and what active ingredients or what chemical use you have at different times of the year. Yeah, and look, just a lot, just in different formats, these reports then, for the different types of product that you're putting on the course. And yeah, and just your application records then and the dates that you would have logged all of these things. So again, there's just a bank of reports and infographics that you can use yourself. And And it's just, as I said, it's all tidy in one place. And if there's a change of staff or anything like that, it's not a case is that all the data has gone off with in the back of or in the back of a notebook somewhere. It's all on the file, so it's an easy handover then. Yeah, and I suppose this is then where, you know, we talked about, I suppose, the last couple of slides, the importance of this for the club and the use, you know, the benefit it is for the club. And I suppose now we're asking you to kind of move away from the club crest and look at sort of the national jersey, if you like. And you can imagine Golf Ireland and ATPI being able to access the cumulative data. If you guys all put your data in here, it'll obviously be anonymized and there'll be nobody in particular pulled out or anything like that. It'll just be that there will be data that can be used when discussions have to be had in terms of compliance and what Ireland is doing in terms of compliance around this legislation, and that can be shared with the powers that be as needed. But as I said, really importantly, anonymized. So it's just cumulative data. So I suppose I hope you feel now that we're coming to the end of the presentation. It doesn't take long. That it makes good business sense for all of you, and good practical sense in your day to day, for you to use this tool. You know, and just to run through them again, I've touched on all these things again. It means we're compliant with the directive. It's a free tool for you all to use. Hopefully you'll feel it'll make your work easier. It'll have everything that you need in the one place. It'll make you ready and waiting for the Department of Ag inspections. It'll give you interactive dashboards and tools that you can share with club management as needed. I suppose it allows us to kind of control more the future of golf as a group cumulatively. If we all start using this portal, because we can really defend ourselves in terms of what we're doing. We're moving the conversation from anecdotal, yes, we're doing this and we're doing that, to actually credible, transparent data that can be used. And I suppose it's a real, you know, there's a lot of other sports industries out there maybe that are not in the same places as golf. And it's a real opportunity now that we have this tool for golf to lead the way, you know, and show, you know, show leadership in this whole area. Yeah, and I suppose what it does as well is it shows all the work that you're already doing, all the good work that you're already doing, that you're making progress and that you're moving in the right direction. So that's pretty much it. I just put, you know, just to remind people again, as I said at the start, this just takes the whole lot really from start to end, takes about 45 minutes. And if you're stuck, that's where we often fall over, all of us, once we start to do something with great intentions and we say this tool will serve us and it'll be easy, it'll be straightforward. If we come across a barrier and we get stuck, we just park it and something else comes up and we move on to the next thing. And that's the end of it. So please don't allow that to happen, is really what we're saying to you. We're here to help in any way. There's no such thing as a silly question. There's nothing like that. Just reach out and make sure if you're stuck that we get to move you on. So again, just recapping on the steps, you register, you can check in with me. I can do a demo with you if you want. If you're really just kind of daunted by the whole thing and you don't know where to start, don't worry. We're here to meet everybody where they're at. So if I can help you in any way by hopping on a call with you or whatever, and we can share the portal and we can work on it together, that's no problem at all. You'd register, get your support in getting set up at the start. Then you'd log your PU, UIPM, your equipment, etc. You'd log your application data then, and then you can use your information then for infographics and all sorts of things for reporting in the club, or just consultation for yourself as well. And then you can share the great work that you're doing. So that's it from me, really. So if you want to take note of that email address there, Grainne, Grainne @atpi.ie. So if any of you have any questions, or you need to connect with me, or you get started and you get stuck, or whatever it is, as I said, no such thing as a silly question. Just pop me an email and I'm here to help, and I'm here to get as many people up and running on the portal and get finished as quick as possible. So here to help. So I don't know if Damien has joined us back again.
Hi, Grainne, can I ask you a question?
You can indeed, and hopefully I can answer.
Well, I tried to register there through the phone while you were talking, but it's asking for a separate email, a different email address to register.
Okay. What I'll do is, can I just take, because you're not coming, who am I speaking to?
Terence McShay here, Bundoran.
Terence McShay, Bundoran. Okay, I'll take that offline, Terence, if that's okay. And I'll connect in with you. I
Okay.
presume Damien has a connection point for you, has he?
Oh, he has, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that just because there's a lot of people on the call and we won't get into the technicalities of it now. So I'll check in with you quickly.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks,
No problem,
Grania. I think
Terence.
Damien is off, so maybe Grania, you might go through some of the questions and we can look at them and
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll are there any other questions anybody has? Just jump in there. All is quiet.
Grania, just a quick one here. So I registered for this probably a week ago or just after Galway,
Yeah.
and I didn't have all my PU numbers. I had them all, but I didn't have them to hand. And it took me about 45 minutes actually going and getting the numbers and getting the sprayer certs and all that type of stuff. I think if I had my PU numbers to hand and my sprayer cert numbers, I probably would have got it all done in less than 10 minutes. Like it's really not that big of an ordeal, to be fair.
That's great to hear.
It's quite user friendly, is what I'd say. So
yeah,
very good feedback from me anyway. So
that's brilliant. I'm delighted to hear that. And I think you make a very good point about having all your information to hand before you, because otherwise it'll feel like a right pain when you're trying to, if you're going off looking for files and numbers and all sorts. So having all those ready before you sit down and do it, and to hear that it's only 10 minutes, that's fantastic news and great to get the feedback.
Just a quick one, Damien's power is gone. That's why he's not on the call. So
okay, thanks.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks, Eddie. That's great. Sorry, somebody else want to jump in there?
Grania, I'm having trouble getting a PU number.
Okay. All right. Who am I speaking to there? Sorry, that's
Philip.
Philip, is it?
Philip.
Okay, Philip. Yeah. Okay, Philip, I'll take note of that and I'll come back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Damien would have a contact detail for you, would he, Philip?
Yeah, all
yeah,
right,
he would anyway if you're on the call. He'll have an email address for you anyway, will he?
Yeah.
What club are you from?
K Club.
K Club. Okay, leave that with me, Philip. Perfect. Anybody else?
Just to look at the chat there, Grania. Our professional course management company is aware of this and implementing these regulations. Yes, they are aware of it, and we're certainly liaising with them, and we'd encourage you also to give feedback in relation to it. And if at any stage, you need another webinar or course on this, we're certainly available to meet with any of the organizations.
Okay, thanks
Someone
for that.
has
there's a few others coming up.
Sorry, just a quick question.
Yeah.
There was a few written questions there, but on the registration page, it's free for 1 or 2 users. But if you want to register a club, that's €360.
That's correct. Yeah, and a club gives you other benefits. You get free access to the ATPI conference. You can have 5 members, but it's your choice as a club to decide which you want. But you can have the free option, and it gives you two people with logins.
Presumably, it'd be better for a club to register if an individual registers and fills out all the club's profile. If that person was to say retire or leave, you'd be better to have a club profile on the portal, wouldn't you?
Yeah, or if the email address on the free one was a club one rather than an individual one, I think that might be a way around that as well.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I think Johnny Fogarty had an issue with not seeing my slides. Johnny, I don't know if we can hear you. If you're still on there. Sorry, I'm only seeing that now, and we're finished.
I think he's gone there. Look, a copy of the slides will be available for anyone that needs them, so we can make them available to anyone.
We can send on the slides, yeah. And
that I screenshotted them. Was that okay?
Oh yes, that's
yeah,
no problem.
That's no problem.
Yeah, that's no problem at all.
And I
Um,
suppose just to highlight one other thing in relation to the presentation, and I suppose for my first couple of months in Golf Ireland, we were dealing with negotiations on the SUR, and I suppose one of the things that did come up was a possible derogation. Even depending what legislation does come on track for us. So I suppose we see it with the farmers in relation to the nitrate, because they didn't move, they're losing the derogation. So again, I suppose it's a real highlighting a case of, we'll need a derogation for extreme instances. So please, if we could at all comply, it would really strengthen our case in negotiating a derogation for you all as we move forward. So just one thing to highlight there.
okay. So any other final questions? We've been through the chat, so I think we've covered off all the things that came in, all the questions or comments that came in on the chat. Anybody else, any final comment or question before we close out? I'll stop sharing. All is quiet. Well, that's great. And it's 12:33.
I think
We're-
Damien's back with us, Grania, there.
Oh.
I just see, Damien, would you like to come in? You're just on mute, Damien.
You're on mute there, Damien, if you can hear us.
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
Damien, we have you there
Can you hear
now.
me now?
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, sorry about all that. Literally, I think 2 minutes before we were about to kick off, my power went here. So I've been trying frantically to get back on the phone since. So you're all done and dusted by the sound of things.
We're all done and
so-
dusted, Damien. Yeah, so Anne has spoken and I've gone through the presentation, and we had some questions and comments which we've addressed. So just to tell you where we are at.
Well, fair enough. Well, listen, thanks a million for doing that, and Grania. And I suppose on behalf of the ATPI as well, and for everyone that's there, just to say it, the redevelopment of the online sustainability portal would not have been possible without the strong support and collaboration from Golf Ireland, and in particular the head of sustainability for Golf Ireland, Anne. So Anne and everyone in Golf Ireland, thanks a million for that. If you're gone through everything, I won't delay proceedings anymore. And
Damien,
hopefully,
sorry, just one thing. Had you some questions just that you wanted to ask in relation to clubs and location? Had you something in that regard? Just that we could log where, just get an idea of the geographics and the clubs that are represented.
yeah, there was I had a poll. I don't know if we can do it here from the phone or not. Bear with me a second. I had a poll that I had ready to go just to ask clubs for their information in terms of what club they were from and what position they had within the club, and what region they were from. I don't know if I can get that up from the phone, to be honest with you.
If you
bear with
can't,
me.
look, maybe it's something we could send out after. I suppose it would just help us geographically to understand the involvement and, where we're participating and where we need to gear up and assist others in other areas.
I have it in front of me here. Did it come up in front of everyone there? No.
No, unless you want to send it to Grania, could you?
It's coming up on my phone. Well, it's not coming up for all the rest of you. Hold on. It says it's launching.
Well, it's up there now.
I don't know. Yeah, okay. Well,
Yep.
if it's gone up, that's great. What I was going to say at the very start for everybody was, I had a small bit of work for people to do, and it was literally 2 minutes filling out these 3 very short questions. It takes 2 minutes, and it just allows us to get the club or the course or the organisation that you're from and the position in relation to it as well, and the region that you're from as well. So if anyone's still there.
People are starting to fill it in already, so it doesn't even take 2 minutes. So maybe we'll just leave the call open for a little while, just for you, for everybody else, just to log in. They're flying in there now.
Yeah.
Thanks a million.
That's great. Thank you. Would it help us?
Brilliant.
We're at 16% and rising.
Not so bad.
Thanks to everybody who came on the call today. Again, as I said at the beginning, I said I'm sure people are still in cleanup mode.
Yeah.
So hope you found it useful.
Is the poll still up there for everyone? It is.
Yeah, so we're at 29, we're at
that's-
31% now.
Great, that's fantastic. Well, at least we got that much done anyway, in relation to it.
Yeah, so with the call is still open now, Damien, and we will just leave
Right.
it open for another little while.
Very
No.
good.
But if anybody needs to go, that's fine. Yeah, we're job done as long as you've filled out the poll.
Hello. Nobody can
Hello?
hear me.
Yeah.
Hello,
we can-
Johnny Fogarty here. How are you?
Yes. Hi, Johnny.
Right, how are you doing? Right.
I still can't get I can't get that poll up now on my phone. It's obviously something I'm doing or not doing.
Yeah, it seems like our screen
Yeah.
isn't coming up with you, Johnny, because it's coming up with everybody else. So it's a
Ah,
strange
that's
one.
cool. Yeah.
It's a strange one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will it be possible to send those sheets out or whatever?
Oh,
or
we will. Yeah, we were
You're
going to send them
recording
out.
this. Can I get a copy of it?
The-
Will I be able to get access to it?
Yeah,
So-
we'll have it on the website, Johnny, atpi.ie, and what we
Lovely,
can do
thank
then.
you.
It'll be available for everybody access there. They can click in and watch the whole thing again.
And
That's
equally,
perfect.
we'll
Thank
put
you
it on
very
the
much.
Golf Ireland website, so you can go in and access it on either.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thank you.
I'll actually stop recording there, Damien, but we'll probably
Right.
want to bring back the recording a little bit to end at the presentation.
Right, okay, we can do that.